This film begins with a guy named Win, who is a street fighter. At that time, he's in a fight with another guy, and there are people watching and cheering for them. At first, they seem evenly matched, but then the other guy secretly gets help from a shaman who uses black magic to weaken Win. Because of the magic, Win starts feeling really dazed and almost passes out. Win's dad, Han, who was watching the fight, figures out that someone used black magic on his son. So, Han goes and confronts the shaman, and after a fight, the shaman stops the magic and Win wakes up. Shortly after, Win starts fighting back and eventually wins the street fight. After the fight, Win sees some guys trying to buy a special necklace from his dad. However, Han refuses to sell it because it's very valuable. The guys get angry and almost hurt Han until Win steps in and tells his dad to go home. On their way home, Win asked Han about what the man who approached him really wanted. Han didn't want to share the secret and told Win that to be a winner, you need more than just physical strength. You need other skills too. During their conversation, some gangsters in a car intercepted them. The gangsters started shooting at Win and Han's car with long guns. Fortunately, Win managed to escape and hide under a ditch, but Han didn't have time to get away and got shot by the gangsters. One of the gangsters even shot Han from up close. Han tried to crawl out of the car, but he eventually died after being shot again by a mysterious man who used black magic. This mysterious man absorbed Han's energy and took his special amulet necklace. To get rid of evidence, the man deliberately blew up the car with Han inside. It seemed like the man was pleased with what he did, and he had tattoos with black magic symbols all over his body. The next day, Win woke up in the hospital, and his friends Prey and Passacorn were there waiting for him to wake up. They told Win that his dad had passed away in the attack the previous night. They also mentioned that Han had paid for all of Win's hospital expenses a few days before, as if he knew something bad might happen to them. Once Win got better and was allowed to go home, he returned to his house feeling really sad and missing his dad. At that time, he didn't expect to lose his dad in an attack by some unknown gangsters. To ease his longing for his father, Win prayed at a special altar for his dad. While doing that, he stumbled upon a book that had instructions on how to learn black magic, which could make someone incredibly strong. After reading some things in the book, Win decided to seek out a monk who could help him master advanced black magic, so he could seek revenge for his father's death. He went through various rituals to gain this power, including getting many black magic symbols tattooed on his body. Win was ready to endure the pain to become as strong as his father. Once all the processes were complete, the monk gave him a black doll that Win could use as a weapon to fight his enemies. Sometime later, Win, who had gained the power of black magic, joined a group of people who practiced black magic. This group was led by a woman named May, and her representative was named Got. Even though this group had some unusual beliefs, Win noticed that many people had joined it, including his ex-girlfriend Now. He was surprised and couldn't believe that she had become a member of the group. Soon after, Now began to share her story about how she got involved with the black magic group after she went through a tough time following her breakup with Win. She said that being a part of the group brought her peace and happiness. Her story moved everyone who heard it, and they were inspired by her journey to find solace in the group. Meanwhile, Win continued participating in the group's activities until May invited all the members to dance together and forget about their problems. After the event, Win noticed that Now and Got seemed to be getting close, which made him feel jealous. At the same time, May received a report about a member named B who had left the group, so she ordered someone to deal with B. B was at home doing a live stream to talk to his followers, when May's followers arrived to discuss why he had suddenly left the group. At that time, B admitted that he was fed up with dealing with all the nonsense from the leaders of the black magic group. May's followers, who heard B's confession, got upset and warned him to be careful because something bad might happen to him. However, B seemed to ignore the threat. Then, after May's followers left, B went back to enjoying his time, eating snacks, but then something terrible happened. He suddenly choked and started bleeding from his mouth because of the black magic that had been sent to him, and he tragically passed away. Meanwhile, Win began his mission for revenge by visiting the workplace of a man who sold various ancient items. The man, who was older, was surprised to see Win and even threatened to shoot him if Win came closer. However, Win didn't listen to the warning and confronted the man, demanding information about who was responsible for his father Han's murder and the whereabouts of Han's magic amulet. The man, trying to avoid getting hurt, admitted that he was just a middleman for a company that sold cursed items related to black magic groups. To prove his words, the man showed Win a catalog of the items he sold and asked Win to check if the magic talisman he was looking for was in there. While Win was examining the catalog, the man suddenly attacked by shooting him several times to kill him. With the black magic powers that Win had learned, even though he was seriously hurt, he managed to come back to life, which frightened the man who had attacked him. Win got back on his feet and grabbed the middle-aged man who had tried to harm him. He forced the man to reveal who had killed Win's father, Han. Sadly, before the antique dealer could say anything, he suddenly died, and Win couldn't get any information about his father's killer. In another instance, Win, who had become aware of the activities of the black magic group, decided to visit now at her home to confirm her involvement with the group. He tried to warn her about how dangerous the group was and how it could put her in danger. However, she didn't seem to take his words seriously, so Win eventually decided to leave her because he was disappointed that she didn't listen to him. Now let's switch to a lieutenant named Toon, who is at a restaurant with Inspector Chan and his colleague, Sergeant Wong, to discuss a mysterious death case they are working on. Toon handed over the results of the investigation, which included autopsy data recently released by forensic experts. The report mentioned that the victim had internal injuries, causing all his organs to rot. At that time, Toon suspected that the victim might have been poisoned, but Wang believed the death was connected to black magic and a legend involving a shaman policeman. This made Toon interested in hearing more about the victim's story from Sergeant Wang. Unlike Chan, who didn't seem very interested in discussing things beyond facts and reason, Wang gave up on continuing his story. From the expression on Chan's face, he appeared uncomfortable when Wang started talking about black magic, as if he was keeping some knowledge about it to himself. Later on, Toon went to a library to find more information about black magic and the shaman police that Wang had mentioned. She read several books on the subject until a female librarian approached her and mentioned that other people also frequently visited the library to read about black magic. Meanwhile, Win and his two friends were talking about a mysterious building used to store ancient heirlooms and amulets that May's group planned to buy and sell. According to the information they had gathered, these items would be shipped to Indonesia, where many people still believed in black magic. That evening, Win and his friends started monitoring the warehouse they had discussed earlier. They observed May's associates completing preparations to ship the goods. When the situation seemed safe, Win secretly entered the warehouse to find out more about the items May intended to send abroad. Unfortunately, while Win was hiding from May's group, his cell phone suddenly rang and startled him. He quickly answered the call, and it turned out to be Prey, who was responsible for keeping an eye on the warehouse from outside. At that time, Win couldn't understand why Prey had called, just to remind him to put his cell phone on silent mode so that May's people wouldn't figure out his location. Luckily, this incident didn't make May's men suspicious, so Win was able to attack and immobilize them easily. This allowed him to explore other areas in the warehouse. After wandering around for a while, Win discovered that heirlooms and items commonly used in black magic rituals were neatly packed and ready to be shipped. To prevent the misuse of black magic, Win decided to set the warehouse on fire intentionally. One of May's men, named Gaken, survived and confronted Win, seeing him as a troublemaker. During their fight, Win was surprised to find out that Gaken had strong martial arts skills, which made it a tough battle for him. Nevertheless, Win attempted to fight back, even as the fire in the warehouse grew bigger. When Win was cornered, Gaken unleashed a black magic doll that transformed into a plant monster. Without fear, Win confronted the monster with his own black magic doll that turned into a fierce wooden cat. With his advanced black magic skills, Win managed to defeat Gaken before making a quick escape as the warehouse continued to burn down. On the other side, got word of the warehouse fire where magical items were stored. He rushed to check the condition of the warehouse in person and was shocked to find it completely burned down. He immediately contacted May to deliver the bad news. Meanwhile, Win tried to reach out to Nao, reminding her that the group she had joined was involved in illegally shipping ancient heirlooms abroad. Win expressed his concern for Nao's safety and urged her to distance herself from the group. A little while later, May and Got visited the hospital to see Gaken, who had survived the fire despite suffering severe burns. There, May appeared to comfort Gaken, saying she was relieved that her followers had made it through the fire. Unfortunately, May's words were insincere, because after everyone left, she used black magic to harm Gaken, causing him to die as if he had choked on something. As for Win, that night, he and his two friends decided to go to a karaoke place to relax. They spent time chatting, and when Prey stepped out to buy some food, an intruder suddenly burst into the room and started shooting at Win and Pasicorn. Using his black magic skills, Win, even after getting shot, managed to come back to life. Unfortunately, Pasicorn didn't survive. He died because of several gunshot wounds. Soon after, two gangsters barged into the room to attack Win, but he managed to defeat them easily. When he left the karaoke room, he had to face more gang members. Thanks to his martial arts skills, Win was able to knock out the gang members and safely leave the karaoke building. Shortly after, the police arrived to investigate the situation. Prey, who had just returned to the karaoke place, was shocked and heartbroken by Pasicorn's death. Win, too, felt guilty as he watched his friend's body being taken away by the authorities. In the autopsy room, where they were examining Gaken's body, who had died mysteriously, Kot lied and tried to convince Toon and the police commander, Sarasak, that Win was the main suspect in Gaken's death. However, Toon didn't believe Got because he believed they needed solid evidence before accusing anyone of causing the death of one of May's men. Soon after, Got came up with a plan to set up a meeting between Win and May during a tea party scheduled for the weekend. He asked Sarasak and Toon to provide security at the event because he was concerned that Win might launch a sudden attack that could put many people at risk. The police agreed to send security forces to ensure everyone's safety at the event. On the weekend, May's tea party took place with the police, including Toon and Chan, keeping an eye on things. During the event, May and her assistant were seen promoting a new product to attract the opposite sex to some of the group's members. Suddenly, Win appeared at the event and used a spell to stop time, making everyone unaware that time had frozen. Taking advantage of the situation, Win approached May, who was able to break free from his spell. Win accused May of being the person behind Han's murder some time ago because she had Han's necklace. May denied the accusation, saying she got the amulet necklace from someone who sold it to her at a high price. Win didn't immediately believe her and wanted to get more information. Unfortunately, God arrived and put an end to Win's time-stopping spell. At the same time, the police saw Win's presence and thought he might disrupt the event, so they rescued May and the other group members while chasing after Win, who was trying to escape. As a result of the incident, Win is now officially wanted by the police because he was found to have attacked the May group. While trying to escape, Win attempted to evade Toon and her colleagues by darting into narrow alleyways. Eventually, Chan managed to stop him. However, Win, desperate not to get caught, used his black magic abilities to free himself and paralyze Chan. Despite that, Chan continued to pursue Win until they ended up in a narrow, dark alley. At that point, it seemed like Win had successfully escaped, while Chan was injured and started acting strangely, as if he had been affected by a black magic spell. Toon and the others rushed him to the hospital. In the hospital, Chan's condition worsened and he became uncontrollable, leaving Toon and her colleagues baffled by their colleagues' strange behavior. Chan, realizing he wouldn't survive, shared a secret with Toon about the Shaman police that he had been keeping from her and the other police officers. Shortly after, Chan passed away due to the effects of the black magic attack. On another occasion, Toon carried out Chan's last wishes by opening his cupboard, where she discovered files related to the Shaman police that they had discussed with Wong earlier. From the files, Toon learned that the shaman police officer Wang had mentioned was named it, who happened to be Chan's biological brother. After receiving information that it was held in an underground prison, she rushed to this unusual facility. As Toon walked down the corridor towards its detention room, she felt weird and damp atmosphere of the prison. She even noticed various symbols of black magic spells meant to prevent it from using his powers to escape. When she arrived at its room, she saw his disheveled condition, with his hands and feet bound in chains. Toon approached him and informed him about Chan's passing, handing over the inspector's final wishes. While reading the letter from his brother, it secretly used his black magic abilities to influence Toon, allowing him to remove the prison seal and escape in pursuit of revenge for Chan's death. He made Toon faint after accomplishing his escape. On the other hand, Win, who was on the run from the police, boarded a subway train to not get captured. Unfortunately, he encountered May's men on the train, forcing him to confront them. Unfortunately, Win was badly beaten, but when he lost his patience, he used his black magic to attack May's men, resulting in their death. After dealing with May's men, unexpectedly, it arrived to confront Win, believing him to be Chan's killer. Despite it unleashing high-level black magic with attacks from black insects, Win didn't show fear when facing the Shin'en police. The two clashed using their black magic powers. When Win realized that his black magic attacks weren't working on it, he decided to switch tactics and engage in direct physical combat. Unfortunately, none of Win's attacks seemed to have any effect on it because it could read Win's thoughts. It even managed to grab Win's head and weaken him, allowing it to see the truth about Chan's death. In an instant, it learned that Win wasn't the one who killed his brother. Without saying much, it decided to leave Win. As for May, she was getting ready for bed, wearing her pajamas and revealing her black magic tattoos, indicating her high level of black magic, similar to Win's. Just as May was about to fall asleep, time suddenly froze in her room, and it appeared, accusing her of Chan's murder. May tried to explain that she had no knowledge of its brother's murder, but it gave her a warning by making her experience a terrifying vision of drowning in blood. May woke up in a panic, realizing it had all been a dream. Meanwhile, Now was seen escorting Got to the elevator after they had been together. To her surprise, Win appeared in her apartment, looking at her with disappointment because he had seen what she had done with Got. Win chose to leave the apartment but was confronted by Got's men, forcing him to face them all. After Win was rescued from some gang members, he went downstairs and was surprised to see Got waiting for him. They ended up fighting each other when suddenly Got removed his wig and revealed that he was the bald man who had killed Han. Win realized that he had found the person he was looking for all along. He tried to attack Got, but Got was stronger and easily broke Win's arm. With the help of some black magic, Win healed his arm quickly and continued to attack Got, but Got managed to dodge his attacks. Got's incredible endurance made it difficult for Win to win the fight, and Got beat him up badly. So, Win decided to use his wooden cat as a weapon, but Got had an even stronger black magic doll in the shape of an iron bull. In the middle of the battle, Win noticed that Got was not paying attention and decided to run away to avoid getting hurt even more. He managed to escape from the fight, but his injuries were severe and he eventually collapsed on the ground. Luckily, someone named it came to help Win and healed his wounds, including fixing his crushed arm from the attack by Got. On the other hand, May met Got and shared her dream with him, which was met with a warning from it. From their conversation, it seems that May doesn't know Got's true identity and still believes that he couldn't be responsible for Chan's murder. May even plans to hold a prayer ceremony with the sect members to seek divine protection. Turning back to Win, who was badly beaten and brought home by prey, he is now resting at his house. Suddenly, Toon arrives at the house to conduct an investigation. When Toon enters Win's house, she is surprised by the various shamanic artifacts and offerings. Prey also meets Toon to explain who Win really is, helping her understand Win's life and the existence of various black magic practices that some people use to gain power. Meanwhile, Win is soaking in an herbal concoction to recover from his serious injuries after the fight. A few days later, Toon visits Win's house to discuss her investigation into black magic. Shortly after, Prey arrives on his bicycle to inform Win about May's plans to hold a cult event. Upon hearing this, Win gets excited because he sees an opportunity to confront Got during the event. However, Toon immediately warns him that this plan is very risky because he could be caught and arrested by the police. During their conversation, a strange black magic creature suddenly emerged from a dark alley where Prey was and attacked Win's friend. Win felt helpless as the creature swiftly killed Prey and then disappeared. Witnessing the loss of his best friend drove Win to become determined to become stronger and seek revenge for all the loved ones he had lost. With unwavering resolve, Win started preparing himself by performing various rituals to increase his black magic abilities before confronting Got and his group to avenge his father's and best friend's deaths. It and Got were also seen engaging in rituals to gain more strength. Meanwhile, Toon was busy preparing the weapons she would use to support Win in facing Got and his group. Sometime later, the May sect held a party, which was essentially a ceremony to worship the gods. The leaders of the sect, including May, Now, and Got, gathered secretly in a cave. They had prepared various offerings, and the worship ceremony began as they sought protection for their sect from potential dangers. During the peaceful ceremony, an unexpected attack came from the opposing party. It stopped time and suddenly appeared in front of everyone. Got and May, who were skilled in black magic, managed to escape its time-stopping spell easily. May appeared frightened by its presence until she was attacked by Win, who entered the cave unexpectedly. Witnessing May in a helpless state, Got calmly used a summoning spell that raised an army of undead from the ground. These undead creatures began attacking everyone in the cave, including the sect members who were participating in the god worship ceremony. Those who regained consciousness were terrified and tried to avoid the attacks from the undead. During this chaos, May was confused and questioned Got's motives for causing such havoc. Got finally revealed his true identity as the son of the sect leader before May and disclosed that he had infiltrated the sect, seeking revenge against May for destroying his family due to her actions. May had been driven by greed and ambition, desiring to become the sect leader at any cost. Got's intense hatred for May had led him down a dark path, and he was determined to obtain Han's amulet necklace, even if it meant killing many people. With the amulet necklace in his possession, Got became even more powerful and continued to attack May until she lost her strength and life. In the midst of the chaos caused by the undead raised by Got, Win and it were kept busy. Win even managed to save Now from a close encounter with one of these magical creatures. After witnessing Got's act of killing May, Win and it decided to join forces to control their magic and immobilize Got. It used its abilities to access Got's memories while holding on to him, discovering that Got had intentionally attacked Chan when the inspector was chasing Win. It felt even more frustrated because Got had killed his only brother. At the same time, Got tried to resist by absorbing its black magic power, weakening the shaman policeman. Seeing that his partner was struggling against Got's attacks, Win intervened and attacked Got with his black magic. Soon after, a fierce battle happened between the three of them. Cleverly, Got intentionally disabled its powers, revealing Han's amulet necklace and provoking an emotional reaction from Win, causing him to attack Got recklessly. This distraction led to Han's amulet necklace slipping from Got's hand. It, who had recovered, used the power of his black insects to attack Got, but Got managed to counter the attack by absorbing the shaman police's power once again. At that time, Win couldn't stand by and launched an attack on Got, prompting Got to bring out his Iron Bull doll to block Win's every move. Determined not to lose the fight, Win also summoned his wooden cat doll to counter the Iron Bull. After managing to free himself from the Iron Bull's attacks, Win joined forces with it to try and destroy Got's black magic doll. Unfortunately, Got stopped them by attacking Win and getting a hold of his neck. Just as it seemed like Got was about to finish Win off, Toon arrived with a gun and shot Got, saving Win's life. This infuriated Got, and he retaliated by throwing Toon against the cave wall, rendering Toon unconscious. Win found himself in a helpless situation after being attacked by Got, especially when Got began to threaten him by taking advantage of Win's feelings for Now, who was now held hostage by Got. In that tense moment, Win tried to plead with Got not to harm Nao, who was terrified and sought Win's help. Sadly, Got disregarded Win's request and cruelly ended Nao's life right in front of Win. Win, fueled by anger over losing the woman he loved, mustered his remaining strength to attack Got once more. However, Got's formidable power made him a tough opponent, and Win ultimately found himself helpless after a counterattack from Got. Meanwhile, it noticed Han's amulet necklace and quickly secured it before Got could get his hands on it. As Win and Got were locked in battle, it took the opportunity to snatch the amulet. Seeing that his opponent was defenseless, Got planned to absorb Win's power. Fortunately, the police arrived and surrounded the cave, forcing Got to abandon his plans and flee. It also made a quick exit to avoid being imprisoned once more. Win, who was unconscious and left behind in the cave, was now the primary suspect in the attack by May's sect that had resulted in many deaths. Consequently, he was placed in a special prison for criminals with black magic, similar to what had happened to it. The prison had well-built chains and powerful seals, making it nearly impossible for Win to escape. Meanwhile, Got continued his activities and spread fear with his black magic, targeting anyone who dared to fight him. He could even send black magic attacks to his victims through television broadcasts. As for it, who had regained his freedom from prison, he couldn't help but think back to the time when he was still in the cave. During that critical moment, he had deliberately placed Han's amulet in the unconscious Toon's hand, hoping that she would eventually be able to give it to Win. In the present, Toon secretly entered the dungeon to meet with Win and handed him the amulet stone. Before leaving, she told Win to return safely. Shortly after receiving the talisman stone, it started to merge with Win's body. Although the process was extremely painful and caused Win great discomfort, he also noticed that his body was growing stronger. With his newfound powers, Win managed to escape from the dungeon effortlessly. He wasted no time and immediately confronted Got, challenging him to a battle to determine who was the most powerful shaman. Soon after, their clash began, and Got attempted to weaken Win's resolve by revealing one of the aquariums in the neighborhood, with Nao's head visible inside. Witnessing Got's bad actions only fueled Win's determination to defeat the shaman before him, leading to a fierce exchange of deadly attacks. Meanwhile, Got attempted to weaken Win by splashing dog blood on his body, making Win vulnerable to injuries that he would usually shrug off. Even though Win was now sensitive to harm, he refused to give up on his quest for revenge against Got, who had killed the people closest to him. Soon after, Win launched a series of attacks and managed to push Got back, ultimately stabbing him with a shard of glass. In response, Got tried to absorb Win's power to lessen his opponent's strength, but he couldn't do so because Win's power had fused with his father's amulet, providing protection against power absorption. Shortly after, Win boosted his attack on Got's chest, causing him pain. To end the battle, Win strategically threw a magic doll into Got's mouth, causing his body to gradually transform into a woody plant. In the final scene of the film, Starasak and his subordinates investigated the underground prison after receiving a report about Win's escape. However, they were surprised to find Win in the prison, seemingly unaffected by his escape. The film ends with this mysterious twist. The film ends. The moral lesson from this film is always remember to put your phone on silent during secret missions, and never underestimate the power of a good magic doll in a street fight.